Hey everybody, we're going to look at verse 3 today for a couple of minutes in Genesis 31. It says, "Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your father and grandfather and to your relatives there, and I will be with you." So, Jacob has been with Laban for the 14 years. Now, God says, time to go home, son. Remember, he's the son of promise. He's got to go back to the promised land at some point. He can't stay where he's at. It doesn't matter how wealthy he becomes. It doesn't matter how many kids he has. He has to go back to the land of his father and his grandfather. Remember, it's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so Jacob's got to get on board and do what he's supposed to do. See, God's prepared him for this time. God gave him a desire back in chapter 30 to go home. Then God has now made his present circumstances really difficult. Remember, Laban and his sons, as we talked about, are jealous. There's envy. And who knows what Laban and his sons are going to try to do. It's going to be bad. So he has given him this thought. He has made his current circumstances unbearable. And now he's giving personal direction. And God sometimes does that. He points us in different directions. I think, at times will remove our peace in a certain situation. He will make things just hard. And sometimes God speaks to us. Be that through prayer. Now, I believe God still speaks through prayer. He speaks through dreams. I believe God speaks through our circumstances. He speaks through others. He speaks to us through his word. There's multiple ways that God speaks and communicates to us. So I think this same pattern is something that people today can still apply. What is God turning my heart towards? What is God leading me towards? What are my feelings? Then we look at our circumstances, and then we look for other messages of communication from God of how he's speaking to us in this. And I think that's, something that we can look at. I don't think it's a, fill in the blank kind of, the X's and O's of always knowing God's will. But I think there's a pattern in this that we can even look at today and understand. And then he tells him something at the end. He says, "And I will be with you." Now that was the most important aspect. If God were with Jacob, he could be at peace. He could be confident no matter where he was at, what he was doing. If it was to stay with Laban in their family there in Haran, if it was to go back to the promised land, as long as God was with him, he had the opportunity for peace and confidence and security in that. God's presence means everything. It's not our physical location. It's not our current circumstance, but it's God's blessing. So let that be something that you remember, that we should seek for God to be with us, and we should seek God's will in our lives above all things. See you guys soon.